Good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning with me. Unfortunately, I was not able to appear Facebook Live because we had some technological difficulties. However, we were able to film this so that you can still get the content. So thank you for joining me for developing a next level mindset. One of the things that I always say is change your thinking and you change your life. And that is very, very true when it comes to developing a next level mindset. Now, before you're ready to move to the next level, you have to change the way you think. It's important, that's critical. If you have a lack mentality, a deficit mentality, if you think that you're not smart enough, you're not skilled enough, or you don't have the necessary resources to move to the next level, you're not. You're going to stay stuck in that same rut that you're in. In other words, if you see yourself as being less than, not enough, or having that deficit or lack mentality, you're going to be stuck. And you're not going to move forward until you are at the point that you are able to change the way you think. To get to the next level, you have to change the way you see yourself, how you think about yourself, and you have to change the way that you see yourself interacting with the world. That's very important. And for some people, perhaps your whole life, you've been fed a bill of goods that you were less than, you lacked the skills, and you were not enough. This could have been generational. Your parents may have felt that way, and their parents before them, your grandparents, may have had a lack mentality. Even your entire or the majority of your community could have that lack mentality. And an example of a community having a lack mentality, there's a little town in Louisiana, and I won't say the name of that town, but that town has not prospered. It has not grown in many decades, and industry doesn't go there. Businesses may start there, but they're not there very long before they relocate. Yet, all of the other little towns and cities that surround that town are thriving. New industries are coming in. They're opening new businesses. Those towns are growing. And when I visited that town in Louisiana, I could see why the town was not prospering or was not moving to the next level, if you will, because the majority of the people had the mentality that they were not going to grow. Many of the people kept saying, oh, we can't attract businesses here. Industry is not coming here. We've tried to approach industry to come here, and they don't. They don't want to locate here. Well, if you have a bunch of people with a lack mentality, guess what? You're going to be in lack. So I don't want you to have that same type of situation. So you have to change the way you think. Now, how do you do that? How do I change the way I think when I've been taught and grown up with a deficit or lack mentality? First thing is you have to make a decision that you want to change. That's first and foremost. You have to make a decision that starting now, you are going to change your outlook. You're going to change how you see yourself and how you see yourself in the world. Okay? That's the first thing. How do you do that? You have a lot of negative thoughts. Maybe you're looking at a next level opportunity, but that little voice inside your head is saying you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not skilled enough. You need to replace that little voice by saying, I am good enough. I am well suited for this position. And one thing I'll say about getting jobs and positions, it's not always a skill that gets you hired. It's your likability, charisma, and other factors. And hiring managers will tell you that. I often say that some jobs are job interviews are a popularity contest. Depends on if folks like you or not. Sometimes it boils down to that for you to get that job. So don't talk yourself out of it. When that doubt and fear creeps in and that negative talk, you have to replace it with positive self-talk. You are good enough. You can succeed, and you should go after that. Go after it. So you have to start changing your script. You have to stop saying negative things and thinking negative things about yourself and your inability to move forward and get to the next level. You have to change that. You can read books or read quotes. Listen to the Motivational Minute every morning, Monday through Fridays at 6 a.m. A shameless plug. Do things like that to sort of get your spirit up and to get your thought processes changed over to a positive, abundant mentality. That is very, very, very critical. And you have to start making that change now. Once you make that decision that you want to change your mindset from a negative mindset to a positive, next level mindset, start now. Don't make excuses. Don't say, oh, I'll do this thing later. No, that's not good enough, because if you say you're going to do it later, you won't do it. Procrastination is the killer of a lot of dreams. You will not move forward, and you're going to stay stuck in that rut even longer, or you may never come out of it. So it's very important that you make the decision that you want to change the way you see yourself, the way you think, and the way you see yourself interacting with the world, and you have to do it now. Change that script. Change that picture that's running over and over in your head. Change that movie where you don't see yourself successful, where you have an I can't, C-A-N apostrophe T mentality. You have to change that to an I can. And whenever those negative thoughts come into your head, you have to chase them out of your head and replace them with some positive thoughts. So that's one of the important things about how you change to a growth mindset. You also have to be intentional and on purpose and ready to move to that level that is greater than where you are right now. One of the things, start to see yourself in that level where you want to be and not where you are. One of the stories that I told on one of the motivational minutes, which many of you saw, was about the young lady who was a file clerk at an insurance firm where I used to work. When she got hired, she was hired to work in the file room. The file room was a big, dismal place. A lot of files, a lot of archives, a lot of dust. The people who worked in the file room, we always knew them because they didn't wear the corporate garb. They wore jeans and tennis shoes, t-shirts, and they put on gold smocks, which were kept in the file room until they were laundered. Because there was a lot of dust in there, depending on how old and how far back those files were that they had to deal with. But this young lady stood out. She came in every day. She was dressed. She had her suit on, she had heels on, and she carried a briefcase. Every day, without fail, she came in with a suit on, heels, and carried a briefcase. And she would put on a long gold smock to cover her suit. And she did her work. She showed up early, she started work, and she sometimes stayed late. About 6 months after she had been there, she was moved up to an executive assistant position. And she didn't even apply for the position. Executives took notice of her, and one of the VPs requested a conversation with her and offered her that position. So that young lady was dressed for where she was headed. She didn't see herself as a file clerk. She didn't see herself staying in that position. That was just a starting point for her. She was dressed for where she was going. And that's one of the things you have to do in the next level mindset. You have to, sort of like an arrow that you're aiming at a target, you have to position and aim yourself for where you're headed. Just like that young lady in that insurance industry, she was dressed for where she was headed. She wasn't worried about the circumstances or how long she had to stay in that file room, but she was going to move forward. One of the things that I said a little earlier, you have to start now. And starting now, making a decision and taking some positive action to move you to the next level, that's very essential. I recently read the story of Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson was a cocktail waitress living in Hawaii. She was homeless, sleeping in her car. She had a very dismal childhood. Her parents were drug addicted, and Danny was abused a lot and lived through some things that no child should ever have to go through. Anyway, Danny, in her early 20s, was living in Hawaii, so she decided to go to the beach with some of her friends, and they went on a drinking and drug binge. Danny was snorting cocaine and consuming alcohol. So Danny at some point decided that her future was not good. She didn't see herself moving forward. She didn't see herself getting to the next level in any way. So she made the decision that she was going to commit suicide. And what she did was she started walking into the ocean. Then she swam underneath the water. And when Danny dove under the water to commit suicide by drowning, she said she heard a voice that said, "Pick up your mat and walk." Mat referring to the beach mat that she was lying on when she was on the beach. So that was a defining moment for Danny. Obviously, she didn't drown. She came out of the water and got into her car and went to sleep. When she woke up, she started right then looking around in her car to see what she could find in order to help her get to the next level. At that time, her next level was not being homeless anymore. She said she didn't want to spend another 4 months homeless, and it would take $4,500 to get an apartment. So what she did was she looked in her car. And that's another thing. To get to the next level, you don't need additional skills right away or any of that stuff. What you need is to assess what you have and start where you are. So Danny looked around in her car and she found this weight loss video. She looked on the back of the weight loss video, found the manufacturer, contacted that person to see what it would require to sell those weight loss videos in Hawaii where she was living. I think it was about $15 to get started. She didn't have that. But what she did next was she took a piece of paper and she wrote a handwritten flyer. It wasn't printed, handwritten flyer. And she posted it at the local post office where there was a lot of traffic and people saw it. By the end of the month, Danny had sold $4,000 worth of those videos. I'm not sure where she got the other $500 from, but I'm pretty sure she was able to get an apartment. So she started where she was so that she could move to the next level. Now Danny Johnson is a multimillionaire. And you should look her story up sometime and read about it yourself. It's phenomenal. But Danny started where she was, and she made a decision. She made a decision that she didn't want to stay where she was. And she didn't procrastinate. She started immediately. Had she not started immediately, who knows? She might have still been in that sleeping in her car. So she had to start where she was to get to the next level. And her next level was, guess what? Being a multimillionaire. So those are some things that you have to do. One of the other things that you really need to do to move to the next level is that you have to not listen to other people. Don't let other people talk you out of things. Don't let other people instill doubt and fear in you and tell you you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do to get to the next level. And coupled with that, you need to build yourself a tribe. And what I mean by that, surround yourself with people who are successful. Surround yourself with people who have that positive mindset. Those are the people who will be able to talk you through when you're feeling down. They'll be able to encourage you and keep you moving forward. So you're going to need a tribe of people. And just ignore and run away from those folks who are lack and deficiency thinking people who are going to try to speak more lack and deficiency into your life. You don't need that if you're moving to the next level. You really do not need that. The other thing is that for a next level mindset, don't give in and don't look back. Do not look back. You're on a certain road now. You're developing positive affirmations about yourself. You're thinking positively. You're ready to take action. Don't look back. Don't look back at what used to be, what was, or what didn't happen. You have to stay focused on where you're headed, and that's to the next level. One last thing I want to say about the next level mindset is you're going to fail. There's some things that just aren't going to work. There's some things that you're going to try and it's just not for you, or it's just not that time. You have to be resilient and bounce back from that failure. You're going to run into stumbling blocks, potholes, things of that nature that would probably stop anybody else. But you're a next level thinker. So you're going to bounce back from that. You're going to learn from those mistakes and failures, and you're going to move forward. Case in point today, our camera wasn't working properly on the device, so we weren't able to come to you Facebook Live. But we recorded this session just for you because we still wanted you to see it, and we want you to comment on it. And most importantly, I want you to learn from this. I want you to develop into a next level thinker. So we're providing this because we want you to succeed. We want you to move to the next level. Whatever that next level is in your life, I want you to move to the next level. I don't want you to be discouraged. You may have to look at this video over and over again. This may be your encouragement to get you to the next level. So we didn't let this stop us. We're bringing this to you anyway. So make sure that you are not a person who's going to lament and just let failure stop you or derail you. Next level thinkers don't do that. Next level thinkers see it all the way through to the end. So I thank you for being here today, and don't forget, keep following me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, some other social media outlets that I'm going to be getting into. We're expecting to go to the next level and produce some other things for you and others to benefit from. So, this is Dr. Pinky. I hope you've enjoyed this Developing the Next Level mindset, and I want to see you failing all the way to the top. So this is Dr. Pinky. Thank you all so much for being here.